Alrighty, YouTube, it's your boy Zxous, and we're back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video. And I think it's time we rank the new HELM, limited HELM Aquamarine unit onto the Burst 2 tier list. So for anybody who's new and is, pulling up to the channel for the first time and they don't know what this is, basically when a new character comes out, I put them in a tier list with their burst skill level. So obviously HELM is a Burst 2, so you're only going to see Burst 2 characters here, right? I have one for Burst 1s and I have one for Burst 3s. So that's just for anybody who's wondering why there's no Burst 1 or 3 units here. It's very straightforward, right? So before we get into the video, make sure you guys subscribe and like, and obviously let me know what you guys think about these tier lists. Usually I get positive results, right? Like I want to say 9.8 out of 10 times most people say my tier lists are valid when it comes to the burst skill tier list. So hey, maybe I have some credibility there. I think we're gonna have some movement placements today, but we'll see. So yeah, so first thing, I think I'm going to move Novel up by 1. Now, I don't think Novel in general is that great of a character, but I do think, obviously, when it comes to bosses, she has her uses, right? She has her uses. No, she's pretty good when it comes to bosses, right? That's really the only reason why I'm going to give her the high A tier and not the B tier. Like, in general, I would say she's B tier. Yeah, I mean, we could put her high B, right? I could put her high B because if you're not fighting a boss, she has no value, literally. It's really as simple as that. If you're not fighting a boss specifically, you're not using her. But like, she's not like kind of limited to electric bosses like how HELM is. So I think I'll give her the high A. I think I'll move Adme down 1 to like low A because of just reload. That's all she has. That's really all she has, right? The crit damage and reload, I believe it is for Adme. Let me just double check. For Adme, it's crit damage and reload, right? The damage taken to the 2 allies every 20 seconds is cool. I mean, it's every other 10 seconds, right? Nah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. We could keep her in the S tier, bro. She's fine. But yeah, let's rank, obviously, HELM now. So with all the testing of HELM, she's a character that's an iffy character, right? I would say she's very iffy. Would not recommend 2 summon for this character, obviously, but I do think she has her usage, right? So now the best traits about this character is obviously, we'll go over it. So her first skill, right, activates when you land 30 normal attacks, deals 131 point, or just deals a certain percentage of final attack as additional damage, right? So because it's a final attack, that's pretty good, because any type of attack that HELM ends up getting within the battle will all be applied into that damage. So that's pretty good, right? And then when you enter a full burst, all allies will have their burst skill cooldown decreased depending on how much times you use it. So the first time it'll be 1.82 seconds. The second time will be 2.2 plus the 1.82 seconds, right? These all stack, right? So the third time you use it, you're decreasing it by what? That's 5. That makes it 6. That makes it 7% in total. Or 7 seconds in total, I guess. I don't know. I think 7 seconds in total. I'm not sure. But yeah, this like all stacks up the third time you use it, right? It's not like the first time you use it, it's only 1.82. And then the second time, it's only 2.2. No, when you get to the second time, it's 2.2 plus 1.8 seconds, right? So this is cool. It's not something new. A lot of characters have this effect, but it's very nice for more characters to get it, I think, right? For like solo raid and union raid where you need multiple teams, right? Pretty good there. Even the tower, right? Because she's the only Elysion that has this. So if you find any use there, then sure. Her second skill, every 4 seconds, deals 100 or a certain percentage of final attack as damage to one enemy randomly. And then obviously, if the same target is of electrical, damage taken increases by 5, or let me not say the numbers, by 1%, that stacks up to 5 times and lasts for 5 seconds. So essentially, this damage taken is permanent. Because it lasts for 5 seconds, but it procs every 4 seconds, so it becomes permanent. Now, the only problem with this is that it's only useful against bosses, because since it's randomly, because it says affects the same target when they belong to the electric code, right? When it says same target, I'm assuming they mean this, the one enemy that's procced on randomly. That's what I'm assuming. The thing is, when you're fighting mobs, it's useless. But when you're fighting bosses, like it's only boss solos, not bosses with minions, just boss solos, then this is going to be quite useful there. So, I mean, it might be good with with ads as well, because I don't know how it procs, or if it like transfers and stuff like that randomly. I doubt it, but it could. I don't know. But yeah, this is definitely, obviously, only going to be good against really bosses, like solo bosses, so electric bosses, of course. And then her burst skill deals obviously a certain percentage of final attack, and then it deals the same amount of final attack as additional damage if they are, of course, of the electric code. So it doubles their damage to electric code characters. So in general, this character I wouldn't say is that crazy, only because she has no real value on the team. In general, of course, she has value here and there, but in general, I don't really think she has much value, right? Even though her damage does scale off final attack, you're not really going to see those numbers pop off until you sell your family and get like everything you need to fully invest into this character, right? And even though you can do that, it's like, would you invest into this character rather than the other characters you still haven't fully invested into, right? Like, for example, if you have Alice and Scarlet and HELM, and you had enough mats to fully invest into one of those three characters, would it be HELM? No, probably not, right? Even like if it was just Rupee and HELM, would it be HELM? Maybe, because of the final attack, right? Because but then remember, Rupee gives the attack percentage, right? So there's a lot of better burst 2 options in my opinion. I don't think this character is really going to be that useful. Like, I'm only going to use this HELM when I'm fighting Gravedigger or an electric boss, because this damage taken actually is very nice, especially when it's stacked up with any other character like Novel or Blanc skill 2, right? Or their burst skill, I guess, because they also have damage taken increase. So it's just stacking on top of each other. And this is permanent the entire game, right? So that's pretty nice there. But overall, she doesn't have much use. Her damage is not going to be good on the average build, right? And I'm not going to say she's good if you fully invest into her, because that's like what almost any other character realistically. And then also it's like her cooldown is cool, right? Like, this would be probably her best skill, right? The first skill, the second part of the first skill is probably the most efficient skill here, right? Of course, I mean the damage is, but it's not really, the damage are not showing. So the burst skill cooldown is probably the best thing that HELM has to offer. But in total, as a kit, and you think about every aspect of the game in terms of content, PvP, progression, tower, bosses, or SI, solo raid, union raid, this character will not be efficient unless you're specifically fighting electric code bosses. And because of that, I'm actually going to have to give her, honestly, the B tier, low B or high C tier. I'm going to give her the low B tier, because it's really that she has her uses, and when she does, when she is in her best situation, which is against electric bosses, you see it. But the problem is you're not fighting electric bosses consistently, right? In SI specifically, the only electric boss is Gravedigger. That's every 5 days you have to wait to use her, basically. And then to mention, solo raid is only one boss. So if the one boss isn't of electric, you have to wait the whole season until they bring the next solo raid. And if that solo raid is not electric boss, you have to keep waiting until it's an electric boss, right? So you can see how she's not really going to be that consistent in solo raid 2, right? For the damage taken debuff. But she will be consistent regardless with the cooldown. This is what's really holding her up in that B tier, I feel like. And like the damage, if you do fully invest into her, even if you don't invest into her, she does mediocre damage. But I mean, she's still, her damage is not even good enough, to be honest, unless you fully invest into her, or unless you build a team that's buffing up her attack, right? I've done a video like that. She does actually do pretty decently if you actually build a team that, is buffing up like everybody essentially. So Privity, Litter, Noir, right? And then your 2 DPSs, I guess. Or I guess your 1 DPS, and then obviously HELM, right? She will actually perform there, but realistically, she has to be in that B tier. I don't really think she can go higher than that. Honestly, I want to put her in C tier, and let me know what you guys think, right? But there's just no way she could, like, she might go down, obviously, just because if her best situation's against electric bosses and they're not even that consistent, C tier might be where she is for me. She's not useful in progression, not good in PvP, only good against bosses. And not bosses, electric bosses. So I will give her the C tier, bro. The high C tier, low B tier. I'm going to give her the high C tier, honestly. But you guys let me know what you think. Of course, maybe you guys will give her the B tier. I don't think she's A level. Definitely not S. Definitely not SS. I don't think she's D tier. I think she has her uses, but it's because how like long it takes for her uses to come around, right? Every 5 days from SI alone, and then every like how much ever seasons it takes for Union raid and solo raid, right? It takes quite some time, so you're really not gonna have much use for her until those situations come out. But when they do come out, she will have her uses. So I guess I'm not gonna really base it off time. I'll put her in the B tier, right? I'm gonna base it on how good she is when you're using her, right? Not really based on her like how long it takes to use her. So I'll give her that low B tier. But you guys let me know what you think. It's your boy Zxous, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what characters you would move around and why. And yeah, it's your boy Zxous. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out later. Peace.